You're listening to Creatives Prevail, unraveling the stories of creative professionals.
Hello everyone and welcome to Creatives Prevail. I'm your host Mike Zimmerlich, and my next guest is founder and CEO of production and talent agency High Profile Lifestyle, Carlos Benjamin. In this interview, we discuss finding a good mentor, seizing paid or unpaid opportunities through internships and freelancing, as well as the importance of personal and professional development. We also dive into one of his latest projects, Freelancers Unplugged. Let's get into it. Hey Carlos, how are you?
Hey, Mike. I'm doing great. How are you today, my friend?
I'm doing great, thanks for asking. And we talked about before, I love you rocking the New York Yankees cap. I'm originally from New York.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, I had to say this. I was originally a Mets fan when I was living on Long Island, but when I came out to Arizona, I wanted to rep New York. So and especially during the time I moved out around 2000, the year of 2000. So this is the time when the Yankees was really popping off right now. And then obviously 2001 World Series, which is the D-backs versus Yankees. So I had a rep. I was still true, like full blood New Yorker at that point in time.
I love that.
But over 20 years later, I'm in Arizona. I'm officially in Arizona now. But back then, I was still a New Yorker.
Yep. Hey, it's expected to happen. You're in a new city and lots of heat out there. So if you're not repping them strong, then I'm not sure what you're doing. So happy to hear it.
And what about you? Where were you originally based out of?
So I'm originally based out of New York City. I am a global citizen because of the nature of our work. So you can find me in all the different countries, all the different states, and kind of like a little bit of a nomadic lifestyle, but definitely based out of New York City. And then I also am now in Fayetteville, Georgia. We're like a few minutes from Trillet Studios. We just opened up a new headquarters here. So in the
Wow.
process of kind of like shifting some of our work and our location for the most part.
Well, congratulations on the new HQ. That's incredible. Why
Thank
did
you.
you decide Atlanta? Was there a particular reason why you decided Atlanta was going to be your base?
Yeah, I decided for one because your money goes a very long way here compared to California and all these other, more expensive places. And also, it's just a space like where I'm at now in my life, and also the company has grown to the point where we need more real estate. New York City has been great, but you're just not going to find enough space to really provide the kind of experience that we are known to provide for our clients. It's going to be very noisy. I probably couldn't even do a podcast with you in New York City because of the sirens, the number of people on the street yelling and all these things. So it's really for peace of mind, for space, and I get to be a little bit closer to my parents, just so that they can support me at this stage where my life is just much busier than before.
That's great. I appreciate the fact that you mentioned about being close to family and still having that support system where you are living essentially. And you even mentioned yourself even being a nomad, right? You still want to have some sort of home base or some place that you can go to, right? In
Yeah.
comparison to going all over the world, which also sounds really amazing to me too. It's kind of nice, especially these days that so much is done virtually, that you have the ability to go, travel and to stay in a place for a long period of time and still get your work accomplished.
Absolutely. Yeah. So important to me, man. And I mean, I'm glad that I get to have this lifestyle because it just brings so much enjoyment and excitement just being able to meet other creative people. And, originally I'm born in Selma, Alabama. So just growing up in such a small town, a lot of people just have their small minds for the most part. And so when you get to go out into the world and really experience culture and just how people who, let's say people in the South at 18 years old, their way of thinking and doing things and surviving, it's a lot more different than someone who's in New York City or California. So just being exposed to just all that culture and energy has just been so amazing. And it's been just great for my career overall and how our approach to different projects that we take on and then the different staff that we hire.
Was that one of the reasons why you decided to go into marketing, was to essentially expand yourself and to be a part of a larger world, or was there other reasons why you want to get into marketing?
Let's see. I believe what got me into marketing, one of the reasons is it was a natural thing for me. Like, I always come up with ways to stand out and make a difference. And then, fortunately, I was able to land a mentor in the film industry. My goals was to be an actor when I was younger. And I ended up meeting a mentor in the film industry. She's the owner of Friends in Film, which is a mentorship platform that help guide actors into the industry and kind of help them stay connected to their passion and their craft through that way. And just take her taking me under her wing and just exposing me to all of the film industry through production, I discovered that what truly made me feel amazing was the marketing aspects of things, because the film industry was like hurry up and wait, and you can't really be this social butterfly on a film set, right? And that's just naturally in me. And so when I discovered the opportunity to work in experiential marketing, the career path that I have now, it literally just snatched me over to the other side, because I went from being quiet, tiptoeing around set, to now being in a space where the people want you to be excited. They want you to shout and scream and just have a good time, and be energetic. So, just my natural energy for marketing people and promoting things and just sharing like what works for me just made it very clear that marketing is where I belong.
So did you go to school for that, or did you get a degree or anything like that, or did you just go, hey, I'm just gonna figure this out and just jump into the industry?
Yeah, no, I didn't go to school for marketing or get a degree in marketing. It because my goals was just on being an actor, so I felt like actors doesn't need a degree to be an actor. You just need training. So I did like film school to just kind of get the training, and then from there, I just started to meet other freelancers in the space who were doing these different creative jobs for a living. I have friends who are makeup artists, stylists. There are some who are designers, editors, all the creative roles, right? And I found a lot of interest in just how they were able to navigate their life doing the different things and not having to be stuck to one particular kind of thing. I'm not really a 9 to 5 job person. So just seeing how the creators were able to go from, one opportunity to the next, it's what really kind of turned me on to like, wow, if they can do this, I know I can do it too. And so I literally just went after it. When I moved to New York City, I discovered this experiential marketing space because this is so big in New York City. Pretty much all the major markets, you'll find a lot of this work going on. It can be a little bit hidden, but if you know some people who are already doing it, it'll continue to come across your radar. And then if you're interested, and you really pursue it, you kind of can find yourself in this world of just unlimited, amazing marketing kind of project opportunities where you're working on TV shows, premieres, concerts, festivals, and everything in between. So that's kind of how the journey went from me from moving to New York City and then discovering more of this industry and the people who are doing it like for a living, and that just was all that I needed to see that I could do it for myself. And I just went for it full force, my friend, full force.
Wow. So I have to ask though, is like,
Yeah.
okay, that's awesome. You moved to New York City, surrounded yourself with like-minded individuals, people that are already doing what you wanted to now do.
Hmm.
But there's also a gap in there between that and even if they like you, right? Going from that
Right.
to, okay, now this is leading into paid work, or this is leading into a job or something along those lines. That there's that little gap in between those 2 points. So
Hmm.
what did you do in that during that gap essentially that led you into now getting paid opportunities and getting into a paid position?
That's such a great question. Let me tell you. So, my mentor, she really taught me so many things. And I just want to mention her name is Janet Urban, by the way. She's legendary for helping actors and just, creative individuals who want to create this amazing future for themselves. She's really good at teaching you how to make that happen. So, with all the things that she was teaching me in the film industry, right? Like how to get on these sets, how to make friends in film, I found that it was easy to transfer those skills into experiential marketing when I started, when I discovered this experiential marketing. And so, one of the key things that she taught me in film that helped me get paid work was work for free, right? It's like the front door is crowded. Everybody wants to be an actor, everybody wants to, audition and just take that front door route. And you're also competing with people who has years of experience, like a resume of work, all these things. So this is like very early on. I think 2008 is when she taught me, because now people can't really work for, I mean, I'm sure people can if they want to, but back in 2008, it was like, you're going to have to find a way to show people what they get if they're working with you. And being that you need to build your experience, and you're fighting against people who has more experience than you really need to get clever, right? And so the clever way was to offer to work for free on film sets and just do the most amazing job. I literally did that, Mike, on I probably did about maybe 10 different films, commercials, projects where I volunteered my time with craft services, all the, the art department, just to support them. And when those people got a taste of just the experience of working with this Southern hospitality kind of guy, right, who's so full of please and thank yous and, can I help you with anything else? I had this very proactive energy, which I still have now. After these people got a chance to experience that in me, that's when they started to offer me paid work. People were coming along like, hey, Carlos, I know you worked on this commercial with us last week, or this student film. Would you be available this week? We have like a project with HBO, and we can definitely bring you in and we'd pay you for it. So the people had trust in me, for one, and they had confidence after I worked for free and just really showed up with great energy. And once they started offering me the free jobs, that's when I started to work with more professionals who were just doing this for a living. So after that, I moved on to the experiential marketing industry, and I already had a resume that was created from working in film, that the marketing industry people were able to take me serious right away, because I had gained the experience that I needed to do the kind of marketing projects that were being offered to me. And that just kind of, and again, I just showcased my skills in marketing, and that just took me from one door to the next. And now here I am, like, what, 15 years or so later, with a whole marketing career and empire that I'm building.
That's amazing. And I appreciate you mentioning about that, because it is a little controversial, especially these days, about working for free.
Yeah.
And I think that these days it's more about being strategic about it, because especially in the film industry is very known for this kind of concept of be a PA on an independent film set for free, or do all this work for free to kind of build your resume up and then to kind of work up from there. These days it's a little bit more frowned upon for doing that, because again, like, people don't want to be feeling like they're getting taken advantage of. And also there are a lot of things that you can now do for yourself that can showcase your work, right? Having a podcast, doing your own content creation, right? And doing things like that. That's essentially building your own resume. Back in 2008, because I know that's when I started my record label, it really wasn't like as much as it is today. So it's a very different type of world. And also to the struggle, I mean, and again, especially these days, back then it was kind of more of expected. So it's expected that at some point you're going to get paid, but also that transition from doing work for free into convincing those same exact people or different people to now pay you for that work that you were just doing for free not too long ago.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. So things have definitely shifted now a lot. Obviously I'm not still at that same level, so I'm not very clear on how people are utilizing, these different skills to land themselves in these positions. But I'm sure that through our conversations, people will discover some ways and strategies that I've used that will help them get through doors and to be able to produce breakthroughs in the midst of their breakdowns. So I'm excited to have this conversation with you.
Absolutely. And the other thing too is, I also wanted to mention about the fact that first of all, every path is going to be different, right? So some people are going to find that way. And I think it's, again, about being very strategic, where if you have an opportunity, the risks that are involved, but it's going to open doors up for you. take it one because one thing is you mentioned yourself was, yeah, you went to New York City and you were able to connect with other people, but then of course
Hmm.
when you are doing this work for free, you're still building out your network. That work that you're doing is networking, is connecting, and that in itself helped you get these different types of opportunities. And that still does exist today, but
Hmm.
it could be also be done in all kinds of different forms or fashions. It could be volunteering for something, right? It could be
Yep.
so I just want to make sure that's clear. And again, if you are totally fine with having an unpaid internship and just going through and then just going through the ringer that way, and you have the ability to do so and you feel like it's worth it, do it. Right.
Yeah.
I'm a very big believer that if you feel like it's worth it, yeah, some people are going to mention that that's not that you're devaluing yourself, but if you're trying to prove yourself and get yourself some sort of resume behind you and to use it as a form of networking and you're okay with that, great. If you
Yeah.
are not okay with that, there are so many other things that you can do now. So I
Yeah.
think it's one of those things where it, especially these days, which I am so excited, especially when it comes to the creative work that we do. There's not one specific path involved, and I think it just really comes down to the opportunities that are available to you, as
Hmm.
well as what you are willing to take on as risk.
Yeah. Yeah, this is true. And I want to speak on that for a second too, because I definitely throughout the years have heard people talk about like, devaluing yourself, working for free, and just taking that volunteer route. And, my feedback about that is, to each his own. Everyone's at a different level. I'm so thankful that back during that time, I was able to do this work for free just to get my foot through the doors. I had colleagues or peers who wasn't in that position. They didn't have the advantage of being able to just like, do it for free to get the experience. But they also didn't have any experience either. And so, they may have had a different struggle, than I had. But what I can say from my experience working for free when I was able to do that, those many years ago was I'm so thankful that I did it. My mentor told me that, these people who are making these films, especially the student films, she was like, if you can genuinely, pour your heart into helping these people, when they become Emmy Award winners and Oscar winners and all these different, accolades of just what you're helping them with now, these people will remember you, you know? And I mean, not everybody has a memorable energy or a memorable presence, but I can say she would like for me, that was very true because I wasn't the kind of person to kind of hide in the background or just finding a way to just not be seen. I was always present. I want to learn. And thankfully I had my mentor to remind me of like why I'm there. I'm not there to be stuck forever. I am there to gain a level of experience and skills so that I can take that and apply for paid work knowing that I have done these things that's required. And one thing that my mentor told me that I would love to share with your audience that has just been with me for the last 20 years is, I was sharing my future vision with her about how I want to be this Hollywood person doing all these things and just having people work with me at all these different levels. And she told me that in order to make all this money that you want to make, you really have to become worth the money that you want to make. And for me, that translated to really knowing how to do all the things, like you can't just be limited and all you're good at is just showing up early. It takes showing up early, knowing how to communicate, make sure you're dressing the part, make sure your hygiene is together. You want to just be well groomed. I mean, people can do all the things they want, but I wanted to make sure that I could take the route that was going to really help me land where I was trying to be. I didn't want to be spinning in circles or in the same circles for, a number of years. So I'm so thankful that she gave me that feedback about becoming worth the money that I want to make because I really took that to the heart. And just working on the sets for free, it's like it just gave me the experience, allowed me to create the relationships. And even now in my day to day life and stuff, when I'm dealing with just all these people on events and projects and stuff. When it comes to tipping, I have a whole nother like, perspective about that. It's like there's so many people who are expecting tips from you. And I'm never expecting a tip, even if I was doing a service job, like, obviously it's a choice, but I feel like I teach my team, it's like, don't expect this. Provide a service that's so good that people feel compelled to tip you. And on all the projects that I have done, where people could, tip if they wanted to, I've never had to ask Mike. I would just treat these people so nice where they just felt obligated and compelled to just, I got to give this guy something because nobody else is doing what he's doing. So I think that it could work for you depending on how you look at it and what your goals are. And for me, it just wasn't to get stuck. It was just to gain a particular amount of experience and then take that and move on to the next thing until I have all the experience I need to stay booked and to stay busy. And I landed on my feet. So yeah.
So, wanted to ask you, um, was that so? You mentioned about dressing the part, right, and in being worth the money that you wanted to raise, right? So,
Mhm.
was that one of the reasons why you decided that you wanted to form your own company? So, because you've been freelancing up until this point, essentially,
Yeah.
and then you decided to create high profile lifestyle. So, was that
Yeah.
a reason behind that, or was there other reasons why you decided that you wanted to form a company?
Yeah, so I started my company High Profile Lifestyle for two reasons. For one, I had become a tour manager, I think in maybe 2010, 2011, and I was touring all over the country for like 6, 7 years, by vehicle, by, doing fly in, fly out tours, all these tours, right? And I was doing it for other agencies. And at some point, I found myself staffing my own tours. The agency that I was partnering with as a tour manager, they had a staffing partner. And that staffing partner, at least back then, these people, they weren't really trying to provide like intentional staff. It was just whoever was available in, Minneapolis, whoever was available in New Orleans, whoever was available in North Carolina, right? These people would just show up. They didn't have no kind of briefing, and I have to train these people. I have to make sure that these people do a great job because the client is going to want to know from Carlos, like, how did it go. So I felt responsible for making sure that I was really working with quality staff. And so I think I spent about 2 to 3 years, really just heavily being involved in the staffing, even though it wasn't my job. It's like, hey, I have somebody here, there, and there that I want you to add to my tour stops, and then the agency would just do it. And so as I continued my journey, I met other, just professional business savvy individuals, and they're like, Carlos, you should just start your own agency. You're basically doing the job of the staffing company and the tour manager. Like, you're doing way too much, right? And so I was like, you're right. And they're like, all these people, like, you're so personable. You've built such a roster of people who cannot wait to work with you again. So it would be easier for you if you just kind of started your own thing. So, I kind of let that simmer for another few years, continued living my dreams because I was living my dreams. And then eventually, when it came to becoming worth the money that I want to make, I realized that, freelancing for these different agencies, it was great. And like I say, I've had a time of my life doing all those different jobs and working with these different agencies because of the people that I've met, the things that I've been able to do. But I realized financially, with where I want to be in life, it's a bit of a slower route for me. It's a faster route for some people depending on where they're coming up from. But for where I'm at and where I'm looking to go, now that I have a vision, and a clear mission, is that I need to find a way to break through this little ceiling that I'm experiencing here. So the best way that I figured to do that was to start my own company. And so I launched High Profile Lifestyle, and I launched it in 2020. And from there, man, it just really just it kind of skyrocketed for me because I already had such a heavily developed roster of talent that I have already worked with all over the country. And on top of that, it was COVID
Right.
times. And so when the world got shut down, I think March 15th, something around that, I was working with clients from a TV show called Legendary on HBO Max, and like the show ended. Well, it like internally it ended like around March 15th, and then they had to go through the post production to make it available on TV. And when the show ended, like my clients became in such demand, and so it's that, and then also the live events industry just went to zero, dead silence. And so
Yep.
fortunately for me, the year that I decided to launch my own company, with the excitement of these new clients, and we're on a like major TV show, I I was able to take off and just go beyond like everything else that was happening, because everything else just went silent. And then I just went busy, and now we getting calls from Hollywood Reporter, all these different pride events. And then we started getting all these requests for virtual performances, like during COVID times. How can we entertain
Mhm.
people that are at home chilling? So those are the two reasons why I started my own agency, to be able to accomplish my financial goals and to be able to like just influence more people. And I'm such the person who is like, I'm willing to help anybody get to where they want to be in life, even if it's not in my career path or in my industry. Like I can share some tools and tips that'll help you really take you from where you're at to where you really want to be, the same way that my mentor did for me. So it's a lot in that journey, but those are like the two major reasons why I decided to launch HPL.
That's amazing. Well, congratulations on that fact. And
Thank
also, I want
you.
to mention that it definitely sounds how important mentoring is to you, because you mentioned about your mentor several different times and so forth, and now
Yeah.
providing tools and mentorship to others so that they can also accomplish what they want to accomplish in life.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's so important because back then I just felt like my prayers was like, oh Lord, if I could just please find somebody to believe in me and just help me. Like, I want this, I really do. And thankfully, she came along and she just had the right opportunity to take me under her wings and really just help develop me into, half of the person that I am today. So I'm really thankful to have that type of mentorship, because now I get to provide mentorship, to people that I believe in and have seen in action. And it's also one of the reasons why I would also take on like personal talent as a personal talent manager. Like, yes, I have this agency where I'm, hiring talent all over the country and all over the world, but there are times where I would meet personal talent who are either performing artists, musicians, and they just, happen to need a manager. And if I believe that their character is good and their integrity is in place, I would definitely like work with them and try to help them elevate their career to the next level. So yeah, it has definitely played a part in me.
Does so when you mention about personally managing a create, I'm gonna put creator in general, right? Just kind of
Mhm,
talent. We'll say talent. Do
mhm.
you look at their numbers or anything that they accomplish at a time, or is it more specifically about the chemistry?
Great question. So when it comes to personal talent, I definitely look at the numbers because I want to see how much work this person has done. Like what kind of experience do they have? What kind of platforms have they been able to, perform on or do whatever it is that they do. So I will look at that, but I think the biggest thing that gets me is the personal chemistry. Because of all these projects that I do, I'm working with celebrities, influencers, public figures all the time, and getting to work with these people in this space, like before the audience or the crowd comes in, right? I get to see them in their normal element. And so there has been many experiences where, because I'm just one of the behind the scenes people, I got to work, for example, let's use you for example. Let's say you're this amazing DJ, right? And before the crowd comes that you're DJing for, like you're just, behind the scenes practicing, getting ready, sound check, and all that stuff. And let's say we're doing this over 3 weeks or something, and I'm there every day because I'm the producer or one of the producers that's helping make sure this all comes together. Like And if we're talking and I'm getting to hear like your story and you're also like showing up serious every day and you're really talented, at what you do, like if you told me that I didn't have like Carlos, I don't have a manager, and I really want to take my career to like David Guetta's level or something like that, right? Then if I was able to have that kind of time to connect with you and develop a chemistry, I may be interested in, being your manager or at least giving you some things to do. Like, well, let me see if you can do A, B, and C, which is make this event the most memorable, um, ensure that people are having a good time, whatever, right? And then we can talk after that, right? I don't like to mix the lines when people are in the middle of work. So I usually will have these kind of conversations like after the work is done because I'm focused on what I'm doing. And then I don't want you to be trying to impress me. It's like I want you to focus on what you're doing naturally. And so if it, and I'll just be watching because I have to watch everything, right? So yeah, just in seeing you really do what you do, if I felt like it would be a good opportunity for me to kind of manage you, then I would sit down with you and ask you a bunch of questions so I can get clear about your vision, your goals. And if there's an alignment, I would be interested in just like trying you out. Let's spend 3 months working together and let me see how well this go. And then if we can accomplish that, it'll let me know what I need to do next. So that's usually how I would take on like personal talent, and how I would discover them.
I appreciate you mentioning that because I'll say too, being an artist manager is same thing. Numbers don't give me the entire picture, but numbers do
Hmm.
give me a somewhat of an idea of what I'm working with, and I think that's the
Yeah.
biggest distinction, right? It's not numbers are not a make or break. It is, but it
Yeah.
does give me an idea of where you're at and what service, what value can I provide to a talent at that point in time, and that varies throughout the career, right? So when I was first
Hmm.
starting out, for example, if I just had the chemistry with somebody, I need to prove myself. So I would take
Right.
anybody who I just get along with, right? That I really loved what they were doing. Where nowadays, now that I have the experience and I have more value, it's not even about even making sure it's valuable of my time. It's that my value to the talent is now significantly different than when I first started. So
Hmm.
if the talent doesn't have necessarily the numbers to back them up at that point in time, my value is now less to them because I cannot give them the opportunities that I can give them because they're not at that point yet where I can pitch those particular opportunities, right?
Yeah.
So it's more or less that, okay, I would need you to get to that point. Maybe I can provide, coaching or mentorship
Yep.
or give you other resources to help you yourself to work towards that point. But once you're at
Yeah.
that point, that's when I can then truly come into play. So there's some people that I love, helping out and supporting, but to actually
Hmm.
represent them, it just doesn't make sense because I'm at a different point in time now where I have all these connections and these opportunities and resources, but I would not be able to apply to you yet because you're not at the point that level where I need you to be to apply those resources. And
Yeah.
I mean that's sometimes a hard conversation to have, but it's
Yeah.
also but that's being honest, right? And it's like,
Hmm.
okay, or maybe find some other manager right now that is not as experienced that's willing to put in the work right now to help you out to get to that point, and then
Yeah.
maybe we can work together in some different form or fashion, right? So
Yeah.
kind of all depends. And sometimes I
Yeah.
break all my rules and be like, "Hey, I really like you a lot. You got no numbers going on, but I just love what you're doing. So let's do something because this
Yeah.
is cool." You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
sometimes you break your own rules too.
Absolutely. Yeah. Sometimes you meet people who's like, they're worth the gamble, they're worth the
Yep.
roll of the dice to see because you can like, especially if you're watching them and you've spent a great deal of time around them. When I think about my clients from Legendary, the TV show, um, like all of them weren't my clients doing like as the show was like, starting, right? But only one of them was. And because they were a group and I got a chance to just be around them the whole time, I was like, oh my God, these people are dynamic. Like I could not believe it. And so even though I don't think they've ever had a manager before, like I was super excited to be that person because I'm like, when this show is over, like everybody's gonna want to work with you guys, and this is what I already do. So yes, I didn't think about doing it for multiple people, but seeing you guys in action and just how far you've come, like I am so on board to just do whatever it takes to support you guys and just taking it to the top. So yeah, you will meet those people that you feel like, maybe they don't have all the things yet, but maybe they got an opportunity where they were on a public platform. And then it's like, if they didn't already have the numbers prior to that, here's an opportunity to take it to another level now. So every situation will vary. And, for people who may not have like enough like experience or this body of work yet, then I definitely recommend that they continue to sharpen their skills, give the world their best because the best will always come back to you. Like that's just one thing that I've learned when it comes to no matter where your level of experience are, if you're just starting out already there, like just give the world your best and it will always come back to you. You will always find the right people, especially if you stay breakthrough minded. I am so big on personal professional development. So my biggest thing is just getting rid of limiting beliefs and just continuing to stay breakthrough minded because you just never know when you will meet somebody that can just really put you on the track that you really want to be on or introduce you to the person that can just have your whole life turn out. So I just keep that in my head and I don't have any expectations. I'm just really focused on giving the world my best. And as you can see, here I am with you, getting a chance to talk to you. And then all the other people that I get to come across. It's just from me just being a great person, always being authentic. And, I'm always just going to keep it real with people regardless, because that's just one thing that I've learned that just works best for me. I don't want to sugarcoat people because nobody really did that to me. So if
Mhm.
you can't take it straight, then this is just probably not an alignment. And I just want to work with people who can just give it to me straight. So that's where I'm at. And I think it's a good, it's just a good thing to keep in mind when you're really trying to build your career. If you're not already there, just how can you give the world your best, knowing that it'll come back to you?
Absolutely. I feel the same exact way. I did
Hmm.
want to talk about working with brands, so going on the
Yep.
other side of the spectrum. So working with
Yep.
talent and then of course now working with brands.
Yeah.
And that requires its own sense of nuance. So can you talk a little bit more about working with brands in general? What are they looking for these days? And how do you make sure, again, because also you also want to make sure it's a right match for the brand too, making
Yeah.
sure that their goals and what you can provide are aligned. So
Yeah.
how do you go through that process of working with brands, getting that conversation started, and making
Mhm.
sure that that they're being taken care of and what they're looking for these days?
Yeah. So when you ask that, this is such a great question. This is probably like my favorite conversation to have with people when it comes to like working with brands, because working with brands is just so fun and exciting, man. Like that's where I've gotten a chance to meet all the people of my dreams. Like I've gotten a chance to do all the jobs of my dreams and just everything in between. And but I look at it from two perspectives. There's working with brands as a freelancer, and this is like a brand hire me as a producer or a talent manager or a tour manager, whatever the job might be, right? And then at this level now where I have my own company and empire that I'm building, I'm working with brands as a business, as a CEO now, and I'm also my own brand. So I'll talk about working for brands as a freelancer, also as talent, right? So when you're working for brands in that regard, for me, it kind of happened a little bit easy because of my experience working in film and just really learning how to deal with the more independent minded people, because a lot of these projects are like, it's project based. It's not like a 9 to 5. It's not a corporate scenario. So, the energy is different. You really like people really gravitate towards authentic, just, awesome energy. So, working for a brand as a freelancer, I would say the way I was able to get all of those jobs was, like identifying promotional modeling agencies. That was one way. I found all these different promotional modeling agencies, experiential modeling agencies, and then I applied myself all these agencies have registration forms. You want to join our team. And then I submitted my pictures. You always want to have great pictures. You don't want to wing it. And so many people wing it in an industry where you're really hired off of your looks, your energy, your personality. A lot of people wing it with the pictures, but if you have good pictures, you can never go wrong with that. So that would be the first thing I would say. Find different agencies, um, find their career section, join our team, and then you'd submit your pictures, you submit your resume if you have one, or a bio of yourself, and then you just kind of keep an eye out for the different jobs, right? That'll come up. So that's one way. And then when you get hired for these jobs, like first they'll present to you what it is. Um, and you can decide if it's something that you can align with. It could be for yogurt, it could be for a liquor, a beer, it could be for apparel brand. You just never know. So, and if you don't have any experience, you want to try to like try them all. So that way you can really figure out what environment you really like to be in the most. Is it festivals? Is it premieres? Is it conferences? Is it trade shows? There's so many different types of areas in there, and so that would be like my feedback about how you can get work for a brand as a freelancer, which is finding the different agencies, applying for the work, and then as the jobs come out, express your interest. Once they hire you, they'll go through their process. You'll get the training details, or they'll host the training, and then you show up and you do the job. You kind of lean on other freelancers who are there, promotional models, production assistants, the producer. You kind of lean on them, get very clear about what it is that's expected of you if they haven't already went through it, multiple times on training, and then you just really want to deliver your best. And one key that I would leave for the audience who's interested in pursuing this work is, whenever you do get a chance to get hired by a brand to work on a project, just make sure that you hear from your event manager or the producer, like make sure that you're doing what they like, because sometimes we're working with people who don't share like feedback. They won't say Johnny, you're doing horrible. They'll just never hire you again. So, and if you're not asking questions to make sure, like I love when like we hire people all over the country, so I love when I'm on site and they come to me and say, hey Carlos, it's so great to be working with you in person. I love this project. Is there anything that you need me to do? Or am I doing this the way that you like imagine? And just the fact that they care enough to make sure that they're delivering the way that I want to see it is what makes a difference for me. And that's also how our staff shows up for these projects too. Like, yes, we've got instructions, but when it comes time to do the job in the field, are you actually doing it the right way? And if you're working with a team who don't communicate that, then you just may never know, it may never get hired again. But we have core values, and we make sure that all of our talent understands these core values. They live and breathe it, so they will make sure that they're delivering the way that you want them to, even if they have been doing this forever. It takes just a second to say, hey Mike, I just want to make sure that I'm actually engaging the people the way that the way that you'd expect. And then you'll tell me like, maybe you could just stand back a little bit, because maybe I think you're a little bit too in the front door. Give them a chance to come in, take that feedback, and then just go with it. And once Mike, the client, can see that you're doing what, I'm doing what you've asked of me, things are usually smooth sailing from there. So that will be my feedback about like how you can succeed as a freelancer when you are working on these projects. Just make sure you tap in with your manager. Look at what everybody else is doing. You don't want to be the one that's just doing something completely different from everybody else and just not read the room. So that's another thing. And then working with brands as an agency, I absolutely love it, Mike, because I came from the field. I was a brand ambassador. I was a production assistant. I was a producer, a talent manager, like a market manager, all the things. And I got a chance to work, um, the front of house, which is the first faces that you see. And then when I became management and leadership, I'm now behind the scenes. And now I'm doing both. Like, now they want managers that can be client facing. So there'll be times where I get to talk to the clients and then also run the show. And so now that I have an agency, I get to really help brands in such an amazing way because of my experience, like working as a staff before. And now that I have an agency and I have all these years of experience doing all kinds of projects, I really get to bring this level of attention to detail that they just don't find in other places. Because it's one thing when you're, working with, let's say, a brand hires a staffing agency that has never done this work. They're just going to have a bunch of ideas and thoughts of what they think should happen. But it's another thing when you're hiring an industry veteran who has their own agency and they have lived, breathed, and done this. Like, I can't even name like thousands of events, thousands of brands and projects. Like, it's a different experience. And this is something that I'm very passionate about. So it's not just like a money making thing for me. It's more about an impact thing, and it's a culture thing. Like, how can I bring diversity and culture and then attention to detail to this project that brands have spent so much money on, and really have people leave moved, touched, and inspired, and just wowed beyond their dreams, just wow, so this is the experience that we give brands as an agency. And then I've also shared how you can give brands this wow experience when you get a chance to be talent. So yeah, I absolutely love working for brands.
You talked about freelancers before, and I did want to make sure that we talked about Freelancers Unplugged. Can
Yeah.
you talk more about what that is and why you came up with that?
Yeah. So out of all these years of doing this brand work, which I love so much, right? Because brands will really help you live your dreams. If you do them right, they'll do you right. So just doing this for so many years, I have just been very present to the pain points that freelancers kind of deal with when they are working in this industry. I'm sure it goes over to many other industries, but for my industry, which is, a bunch of freelancers in tech, beauty, fashion, sports, and social media, all these things, I have I've just seen these people just give their all, Mike, to just make this concert the best concert attendees have ever been to. I've seen these freelancers give their all to make sure that this sampling tour, for whatever the brand is, like, go the best that it could possibly go. And some of these people, they have family at home, they have kids, they have wives, they have all kinds of things going on. Some people are living paycheck to paycheck. Some people are just chasing their payments, from jobs that they did months ago, all these different things. And so it what I've noticed is that these freelancers would go from one project to the next, to the next, to the next, because it's almost like a exciting roller coaster. You're like at the Grammys today, now you're doing the Oscars, and now you're doing Comic Con, Beauty Con, and all the things without really taking a break, because the energy is exciting. And I just found that freelancers didn't really take a lot of time to just recharge, and then they don't even have a true place to go to get recharged, or just empowered to kind of keep moving forward. So I decided to create what I'm calling Freelancers Unplugged, as we, are actively building this out and creating this, right? I decided to create this to be able to provide a platform for freelancers where they now have access to the tools and the people that can really help them get to where they want to be in life. I'm really, like I said earlier, I'm really big on personal professional development. So the goal will be to really have a lot of that involved in Freelancers Unplugged, this place that people will be able that freelancers in our industry will be able to go to. And when they're there, they're meeting like the professional service people who can help them with real estate, people that can help them figure out um, how to take advantage of travel discounts, because a lot of freelancers love to travel, but oftentimes agencies don't pay for travel, so how do I do what I love but still have the means to be able to do it? So I'm creating Freelancers Unplugged to really be able to uplift and to bring together a community of just go-getters who are constantly on the move, just making sure that people are having the best experience possible at these different events. And I really just want these people to leave better than the way they came, because now they're leaving with, access to photographers. They're leaving with access to the professional people who can help them create their wealth strategy and get on track to buy a house, when people didn't even think they could. I'm also creating a place where they can have access to either free health insurance or very low cost health insurance. I'm making it possible for these freelancers to be able to have like more consistency in how they get paid, instead of waiting 3 4 months or however long people are waiting now. I want to make it to where they're able to get paid after 7 days of doing these projects, which is, kind of like, it doesn't really happen very often. So I just want to create more stability. I want to create more access and just more development so that people can really go out and do a great job and know that they're doing it because they're tapped into a community of people who's really showing them and teaching them and leading the way for how they can make it happen for themselves. So much more to come with that, but that's just a little, gist of what I'm bringing to the table and creating with Freelancers Unplugged, and I cannot wait to roll it out.
That's amazing. Well, thank you for doing that. That
Yeah.
sounds amazing. And yeah, we can, especially freelancers. I know that from personal experience too, could always use that help, and also just
Yeah.
that feeling of not being alone and having those resources available. So thank you for doing
Yeah.
that. That's amazing. That's
Absolutely.
amazing.
Absolutely.
So we can start wrapping things up here. I do have a couple of questions for you that we
Mhm.
can end on. So first question I have for you is there a brand or a particular campaign that you really like that you are not personally involved with?
Oh, a brand or campaign that I really like that I was not personally involved with. What would I say? Hmm. I'm so involved in my world, right? It's like, ooh, how do I look outside and see? Um, hmm. Oh, that's such an interesting one that I haven't been involved in. I guess I would say um Wonderland. Is that
Okay.
it's like a festival, right?
Mm.
I think I had Tomorrowland. I'm so sorry.
Tomorrowland. Yeah, yeah.
Tomorrowland.
I had a feeling that's what you're going for. But yeah,
Yes.
Tomorrowland's incredible. I never been, but that looks
Oh my
incredible.
God. Oh, I have never been, Mike, but just like the fact that they are able to pull this crowd of people, and these people are coming from all over the world. And I mean, they come time and time again, no matter where Tomorrowland shows up. I would have to say that is an inspiration for me in terms like to I want to be able to get freelancers unplugged to that kind of level of entertainment and excitement and just loyalty to Tomorrowland. Like all these artists get to come to a place and really just deliver like the most creative music, and experiences. And I mean, because I haven't been, I don't know what the activations are like there, but I can only imagine, just from seeing the pictures, the lights, and just how people come in. I'm just thrilled. And the welcome drinks that they offer, I think the strategy for Tomorrowland is absolutely amazing. And I would love to find a way to be involved with them or to partner with them in some way. But yeah, that would be the one for me.
Do you have a guilty pleasure? And I'll let you answer it any way that you want. Is it a film, a television show? Is it food, a particular kind of artist or music? Do you have one?
I definitely have a guilty pleasure, like, and without overthinking this, what the first thing that comes to my mind is crab legs. I am just such a crab
Mm.
king. And anytime I'm just not feeling happy, or if I'm just confused about what I should do in certain situations, that I'm thinking about or planning, let's just go have crab legs
Mm.
tonight, and I'll go have crab legs, and then suddenly I just have this energy, this excitement. I can think straight again, and I'm just filled with joy. So crab legs would definitely be my guilty pleasure any day of the week. So if anyone,
Mm.
just kind of rub me the wrong way and they want to get back in my good graces, just kind of invite me to a crab leg, dinner or something like that, and we can work it out. We can figure it out. I gotta ask though,
It,
Mike, what about you? Do you
yeah.
have a guilty pleasure?
Oh, I'm a huge Uber nerd. I mean, we were talking about before. I got Pokemon in the background here, so I mean, so Pokemon. I'm a gamer, so Magic the Gathering, all that kind of stuff. Huge into Disney,
Yeah.
so like I'm an Uber
Okay.
nerd. So all kinds of guilty pleasures. I literally have a music playlist called Guilty, and it's like everything from Backstreet Boys to Spice Girls, and you name it, like all that, Britney Spears, and everyone imagines. So I love guilty pleasures. That's like my thing. So yes, I got a lot.
That's so good to know. I'll keep that in mind. I'll keep that in mind for when your birthday rolls around.
I appreciate that.
Oh yeah.
And my last question for you is: if you were only able to give one piece of advice to somebody else, what would that one piece of advice be?
Ooh, that's so easy for me. And I give this advice all the time. The one piece of advice that I would give to anyone who is looking to take their life to the next level, who's looking to get unstuck, who's looking to get out of their own way, um, and who's looking to discover like what they're truly passionate about, it would be to take on personal and professional development. There are two programs that I have participated in. One of them is called the Landmark Forum, and it's available worldwide. And then the other one is called Momentum Education. These two personal and professional development seminars and programs, Mike, they have been so critical to my life. They have been critical to the lives of my friends and some of my clients. I probably have over like 45 or 50 people now that I have recommended. Hey, look, if you really want to get unstuck, or if you really want to, just take your life to that next level, just give this a try. You have nothing to lose. And I'm so thankful for the friends and clients who took that advice, because we went from talking about like how things were just not working out and just, I don't know what I'm doing and I'm spinning in circles and how to deal with this situation, to now we barely get to talk because everybody's living their dreams. Like they are doing what they have created for their lives that they want to be able to do, and it continues to work just every year, because I'm just always talking about it. Like I live and breathe personal professional development. This is also one way that I'm able to have such a strong agency with amazing talent, because we provide this kind of training to our freelancers. Because I just want people like you, like in the world that we live in today, people are navigating so much stuff, so many personalities, so many different changes, like love, hate, everything in between. And how do you keep control on your mental health and your mindset, with all these things happening, um is what I would, ask sometimes. And when I think about what personal and professional development provides, it really helps you go beyond your normal capabilities of thinking and doing things. So every single person that I have recommended to take this on, they have only come back to me with good results about like just how their life is working out. They get to figure out things, and the biggest thing is that they don't have to come to me with all of their problems anymore. They're like, oh, Carlos, you can't believe what I have accomplished. And it's just so great to have those kind of conversations with people who were just really stuck and trying to figure out like, how do I take it to the top? How do I get to where you are? And I can tell you, but are you really going to do it? And so taking the professional and personal development has really implemented such a driving factor where it's like, I'm never going to be stuck. I'm never going to not know how to figure it out. And I'm never just going to give up. I'm going to stretch. I'm going to give it all that I have. And I'm always going to be authentic and just put my best foot forward. So that would be the advice that I would give to anyone who's really looking to take their lives to the next level, and not have to rely on other people, because it's really going to come from you at the end of the day. The choices you make, the things that you do, all that stuff is really going to come from you. And so I love how they help you get access to power where you can discover for yourself that you're the one that's going to make it happen. And with that question, Mike, I got to ask you the same thing because I love learning. What is one piece of advice that you would
You
give?
okay? You're gonna throw it at me. That's a good one. So
I got to.
I have. Okay, so I have done the reverse interview before, and I'm trying to remember. I'm gonna try to give a different answer. So
Mhm,
it's interesting because I've actually been analyzing that response because I asked that question to all my guests at the end.
mhm,
And it's very interesting because everyone that I've ever talked to has a different answer, but they're
mhm,
always relatively this like there's some through line of some similarities between all those things.
mhm.
And it's just like a slightly different approach to each of them. And I would say you're definitely not alone in how you're feeling.
Mm,
And
mhm.
I think that's important to always understand and recognize. No matter how successful you perceive somebody is,
Yeah.
everyone is having their own internal struggles. Everyone is having their own sense of self-doubt. And I feel that most of the time, the people that are the most successful tend to have the most self-doubt. They're the ones that are there because they pushed through it. They tried the hardest. They
Yeah.
failed the most.
Yep.
And I think that's the thing that really to take away from it that this is that you're really not alone in how you feel. It's really about how you are handling those feelings and
Mhm,
how you're pushing through. And I'm a very big believer in self-reflection. So it's a
mhm.
very hard thing to do, but you have to self-reflect on why am I feeling the way that I'm feeling? How can I get through this challenge and move forward? And also
Mhm.
being honest with yourself too. Do I really suck at this? Do I really want this? Right? I think that's also an important thing to understand too, is that where am I truly at in all this? And if I'm not where I want to be, why? Because I guarantee you like maybe not 100%, but I would say 90% or 99% it's because of you.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's because of you
Yeah.
that you are not where you are right now. So
Yeah.
is it that you did not put yourself in the right environment? Are you not in the right
Yeah.
mindset? Are you just distracting yourself with other things that's hindering
Mhm.
your progress? Whatever the case might be. So have to look at it that in that particular way. But I will say this is that to kind of wrap things up here, you're not alone. Everyone I talk to at some point in time has felt this way or is currently feeling this way, no matter what level they are at in their careers.
Yeah. Mike, that's so good. And just hearing you say that, it takes me back to like those personal professional development experiences. Like you get to be in a room with all of these people, different ages, different backgrounds, different career path, billionaires, millionaires, college students, everything in between. And you get to hear the most successful people speak about what keeps them up at night, and then you also get to hear about the people who are just on their way but they're not there yet. And just in all that conversation, it becomes so clear that you're not alone. The most successful person is struggling with some of the same thing that people who aren't even successful, in their minds, right? Are dealing with. And so I love how it makes it very clear that you're not alone and you get to see it. Like there is and if you don't get it doing that, which everybody always does, right? It's just like maybe you just need a little bit more time to like figure it out. But I love that you mentioned that about people are not alone because they're not, man. Like um it's just so many things going on in everybody's lives and people are just finding ways to get through it, so it's good when you can have access to leaders and mentors and you can tap into these kind of conversations and platforms that are designed to kind of share knowledge and wisdom that you can pull, even books, to kind of help make your life turn out the way that you would like for it to go. So thank you for sharing that feedback with me. I don't feel
Thank you for
alone.
asking the question. Good. Neither do I.
Yeah.
And thank you for asking that question. So that means a lot to me. But I know you got
Yeah.
to go. So thank you so much again for your time. This was
Yeah.
such a wonderful conversation.
It
And
was.
yeah, but thank you again so much for being on the show. Really do appreciate it.
Oh, you're so welcome, Mike. Thank you for having me, and I look forward to having this conversation with you again.
Thank you so much for listening to Creatives Prevail. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with others or leave us a review. They are an immense help. Now go out there and make something happen.